if I'm going to find one corner of this market right now on Friday afternoon that I am continuing to, as I go into November, as we wrap up October, if there's a corner of the market that continues to make sense to buy, it's this. It's energies. It's energy via natural gas. It's energy via crude oil. And then let's not forget, it's energy via oil stocks, XLE, XOP, which remember is oil and gas exploration. So it's going to be weak when natural gas is weak as well. And when it comes to XOP, I would put XOP on the radar. I would absolutely put XOP on the radar. In fact, this would be an aggressive trade, but it is one that I'm going to look at for next week. Is it related to futures? Well, it's related to the markets that are going to be affected by futures. And I think that still very much, in many ways, has a foot in futures trading. So come Monday, like the great Jimmy Buffett song, I'm going to be looking at the XOP and the 21 propulsion. So if you want to put that on the radar, the 21 propulsion replaces the 21 exponential moving average. But I'll tell you what, I'm also going to, even though it's going to be November, I'm going to keep an eye on the first of the month anchored VWAP as well. So this is absolutely related to, wanting to be long and stay long crude oil and natural gas. And I don't want to leave RBOB, I don't want to leave unleaded gas out of it. It's pulling back into the wave, but unfortunately, because UGA is relative to USO and relative to UNG, it's actually really, sadly, illiquid. I know for a lot of traders who want to play energy, you take a look at crude oil, that's a $5,600 initial margin on the CL contract. Yes, you can trade the micro, and that makes it a whole lot more affordable. We do not have micro contracts on natural gas. So if I'm looking at Natty and I'm looking at this pullback here and fixing to buy, which we've been buying pretty consistently since August, this is a $7,000 contract. So there's two issues here that I think sadly keep a lot of traders from focusing on futures. Look, you can analyze a futures contract and execute the idea in an options on the futures or in an option on the ETF alternative. And that's really where I land on that whole issue. Now, RBOB does not have that liquidity in the UGA. So with RBOB, it's going to be trading that RB futures contract or calls in this case on the RB futures contract. So 2 out of 3 have great ETF alternatives, liquid options within them, and 1 doesn't. And this is a almost $5,900 initial margin requirement. So, I think that's probably one of the things that a lot of futures traders now have to contend with, which is just, pretty expensive initial margin costs. All right, so the next thing then becomes, again, XLE, XOP, and OIH. So keep those in mind, because as we get pullbacks in the energy, you're going to notice that these energy stocks are going to be sympathetic to them. And then that's where we can make the segue into the way that I like to scan for relative outperformance, the way in which I will root out those relative outperformers is with a multi-chart. And when it comes to the multi-chart, XLE and OIH are going to be fine. However, XOP, because it is not a high concentration weighted ETF, that's not going to be as simple, because while there are some very cool names in XOP, this kind of relative outperformance scan where we rely on high concentration weighting is not going to work as much, since you're going to see a lot of the typical names we would expect, things like Diamondback Energy, Range Resource, Devon, EOG, Conoco, Occidental, Murphy Oil, you name it. They're gonna slide up and down the scale of a non high concentration weighted ETF. Doesn't mean you can't look at them, but just keep that in mind. And this is what I love about the connectivity of the futures to the stock market, especially with energy, which, like I said, has my attention because, well, energy has right now the best bullish energy.
Hey traders, Raghee from Simpler Trading. Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to leave a like and a comment below. And remember, subscribe and click the bell icon so you'll get notified of the next update. And when you're ready to join me for live trading, be sure to head on over to simplertrading.com. I'll see you in the next update.